Haywood Nelson was born in New York City in 1960. By the age of 6 years old, he was already acting in commercials. By his late teens, he had a starring role on the huge comedy hit What's Happening. His life continued from there. We're going to interview him next. It's not just the comedy behind-the-scenes stuff of Hollywood in the 70s and 80s. No. This is a real interview about the man and his trials and tribulations from age 5 years old till right now, over 45 years in Hollywood. Please welcome my friend, Haywood Nelson. Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. Gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, stay out all night. But sure, I've had some better times. And I can't count all the tears I've cried. And maybe down my last time. Yeah, but the blues took me just fine.
Well, we're here again. It's another Gen X Talks interview. No. Now stop. If you're looking for the podcast, the one where my wife sits here and beats the shit out of me for an hour, you've come to the wrong place. Can you tell that the person on the other camera is not my wife? God, I hope so. He's a handsome man, but he's not my wife. No. If you're looking for that podcast, it drops every Friday at midnight and in Los Angeles time. Make sure you pick it up there. This is one of the interviews. There's a certain manner of speaking with the interviews. There's a certain intellectual aspect to the interviews that we don't normally get on the podcast. And those of you that are of higher standard, if you will, you know your station in life, these are the ones you guys wait for. These are the ones that are really important. So I'm going to get right into it. This is my personal friend. He's been in Hollywood and TV land his entire career. Haywood Nelson, you guys know him best probably from the hit show What's Happening with Rerun and Raj, and he, of course, was Dwayne. Haywood, welcome. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for
man.
driving all the way out here. This is great.
Oh, I'm just glad to be here. You know, Gen X Talk. I'm happy. I'm home.
You're home, baby. Listen, I seriously thank you for driving. I know a lot of guys, when you're very busy, like all actors and stars are, you could have just said, well, can I Zoom call this? It is so much better when guys stop by and we can talk.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate you making the effort.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, and you did. It means the world to me. I would say I owe you, but there's nothing I can offer you. I owe you a ham sandwich. I will give you a sandwich for lunch.
And there we go. No,
So,
this is beautiful. I love it.
We've known each other for just a minute now, but I mean, we met at that car show, that
Yeah.
Route 66 car show in Fontana, and you got your manager, Dante. He connected us together, and Dante sat in that chair and did an interview.
Yeah.
I had a great time with him, way better than I had hoped for, and it turned out great. But I got to tell you, something I learned about you during that car show. I had no idea that, when you meet Hollywood people, you meet people in TV land, they're mostly arrogant. And they don't, I'm going to be here for 1 hour and not 1 minute longer, and I'm leaving. You came early, you stayed late, and you know what impressed me? You took time with every single fan.
Oh, yeah, man.
Every person that came up to you and talked to you, you got up, you walked out there, you took pictures, you had conversations. I got to tell you, man, I was hooked on you at that moment because that's rare.
Well, and two, first of all, it's a car show.
Yeah.
I'm a gearhead, so it's like I'm home. I love that.
Right.
And then also, even when I go to like the sports memorabilia shows and the autograph shows, I'm there primarily for one purpose: the fans. That's why I'm there. I come out of my house, I come out of my domain, out of my area. I go somewhere else because I am going there to see those fans who may not get a chance to see many people or me.
Yeah, I agree.
So if I'm there and they're there, we're going to have a good time.
I put up that, you saw the picture I put of you up there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And it was from back in the day.
Yeah.
It had you and Fred Berry.
I still have my afro.
You still had your afro back then. And as soon as they saw the name, I'm like, hey, what else? But as soon as they saw the picture, they came right around to the booth and they knew exactly who you were.
Yeah, right away.
I was amazed at how many people that still know you. Like I do. There's still a fan going, I know. When you said, well, do you remember that old show? You probably don't remember that show and that guy doing. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And they all did too.
Well,
they were real fans. They really knew who
They
you
are.
were.
I'm again from New York originally, and then bi-coastal New York and California because of work. But you'd be surprised. I mean, first of all, it's amazing how many years we're talking about. We're talking from the 70s.
40 years.
Yeah, and age like 45 years or so, all the way. I mean, people still know us, but it even goes a lot further than that. I mean, I remember I was rushing. I don't know where I was going, but I'm, New York. I'm walking fast. I'm rushing. I dropped down into the subway at Grand Central Station. And I'm hustling about lots of people. I'm trying to avoid the people. They're all bumping into each other. And these two guys walk by me, and they go, "Excuse me." And I'm like, okay. They're going to ask me if I know rerun. Something like that. And, because I get those kinds of questions.
Yeah, I got you.
Are you who I think you are? Well, who do you think I am?
I'm not Richard Pryor.
I mean, I can't answer that. You have to tell me.
Right.
So the guy stopped me, and you could tell they're brothers. You can tell one's just a little bit older than the other.
Yeah.
And he says, "You're an actor, aren't you?" So immediately I'm realizing, okay, this one is a little different.
Yeah.
And they says, I said, "Yes." They go, "Right, Haywood Nelson, right?" I went, "Yeah." They go, "Well, we just wanted to say thank you." I went, "Oh, okay. Yeah." He says, "We love your show, but beyond that, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be neurosurgeons today." I went, "Oh, come on. Wait a minute.
Now, hold on. I have seen the character Dwayne.
Right.
I know you put your heart
and now you're a
into it.
neurosurgeon? And I went, well, okay. All right. Flattering.
Yeah, you can't,
but what do you mean by that?
Yeah, you can't shut them down, but now you got to know.
What he said was, both of them, he says, our parents would not let us watch what's happening unless we finished all of our schoolwork and it was checked by them and it was 100% accurate.
Wow.
Every single week. And because of that, we developed a work ethic that we carried through high school, undergrad, grad, med school, and residency to become the neurosurgeons we are. And we just want to thank you so much, and we feel like we know you because we spent so much time with you. So I went into that to say, at the car show, at autograph shows, that's the reaction I get all the time. People feel as though they've spent enough time with the cast of what's happening that they know us. We're part of the family.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, you on that show, you guys came in, your family came into our family, our living room every night.
Yeah.
You were right there. Now, you didn't know you were on the other end, but you were in millions of living rooms,
all the
millions of families for years.
And that's been the 45-year blessing because it's not been negative. I mean, every time that people come up to me, it's nothing but great love, appreciation, and a wonderful opportunity to interact for short moments and then move on. And it's just been great.
Can you see the red light is on? And we are talking here. We're in the middle of the interview, and you just the red light's on. Respect the red light.
Gen X kid is here.
Kid came in. Bridge came in.
What's going on, man?
Well, you look good. You going on a date? No. You're going bowling.
Yeah. Oh, you're going bowling with a date?
Can I help you with something here? I'm in the middle of, I'm conducting business.
The red light.
Look, 8 minutes ago we have started. You come interrupting my day. Boy, get me a belt.
Peek in, say hey to Heywood.
Well, she's the one who turned on the red light. Good. Okay, you know what? I'm beside myself right now. If I was...
Are you mad at me or mad at her now?
I'll be mad at her. She's not here.
We mad at the red light. It don't work.
We're mad at the red light.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all good, man. Good
to see you.
Are you out?
You done?
Yeah, I'm out.
All right. Go have a good time with your cut cold bowling knife stuff. And, and then leave us be. We're in the middle of a conversation. You interrupted two grown-ass men talking about stuff.
And you're probably going to be talking when I get back, too.
Yeah, well, we might be, but you know what? That's none of your concern. Get your ass out of here, boy.
All right, see you guys.
All right, man. Have a good time.
I get done. I tell him I'm going to walk in there and punch his mama in the mouth. Little Smoking the Bandit reference there.
Yeah, right?
Well, we did the same thing, luckily, we just saw each other in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was a good time.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Neither one of us got recognized, I don't think hardly at all, maybe once.
Nah,
which was fine by me.
Yeah, because it gave us more time.
Did you get in trouble from we were out the poolside? at the Durango.
Yeah, we had some views out there,
I
didn't
got
we?
a little bit of a lecture the other day about that. We're doing our podcast, and she's like, "Yeah, I saw what you and Heywood were looking." I said, "I had my dark glasses on. You couldn't tell what I was looking at for shit." And she got a little talking to.
Yeah,
you know where that went with her? She goes, "Well, how come there's no men in shirtless men with black bow ties serving drinks? It's always women." I said, "Well,
I agree with her. They should write a letter. Got to write a letter.
You got to write a letter. You got to get the memo. If there's no memo, nothing going to happen. You got to get the memo."
They had all those women out there walking, serving, and they were wearing very little.
Very little.
Where's the men?
I thought
can write a letter.
Boy, your wife, who I affectionately call Blingy, I kind of explained this on the podcast. We were all sitting around when we were down at the car show, and we were hanging out that evening, and everybody, she was taking in, you're called the General and Gen X Dad, and she's called Gen X Mom and Two Bear and Trippy, and she says, "Well, I want a name," and she had, fingernails were glittery in her purse and her shoes, and I said, "Well, you're obviously Blingy, clearly you Blingy."
She loves it too.
And so we're sitting out at the pool. And Blingy, your wife, I feel so bad that she had to educate me. I feel like such an idiot. I don't know if you were there. You might have gone to get around to drinks. And I said, I'm looking at all these women, these beautiful women. I said, it's kind of funny that they all showed up on the same day wearing the same bathing suit. I mean, it's the same bathing suit and the same color and the same print. Don't you women often get upset when you show up to an event and someone's wearing the same thing?
Yeah.
And your wife goes, "Hey, that's a uniform."
Yeah, that's
I
it.
said, "What?"
And that was one hell of a uniform.
You give them the uniform. It's like, they hand you a little cloth and go, "This is what you're wearing."
Right.
And you're all going to be wearing it.
Right.
Tell you.
Wow. Yeah,
So we did get some time to talk in Vegas a little bit about some stuff because
Yeah.
you and I got some directions we're thinking about going. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, setting our friendship aside, which I value very much, let me go back to the beginning with you.
Okay.
First, where were you born and raised? What was your hometown back then?
Yeah, interesting times, first of all. So it starts with the era and as well as the locale. So I was born in the Bronx in New York City and lived in Harlem.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so I grew up in Harlem up until the age of, I got to think now, 8.
And were either of your
9.
parents in show business of any kind?
So my whole family, kind of an interesting family. Most were, my dad is a jazz musician. He was a jazz musician. Played piano, but he wrote in piano, but really was a drummer. From the time he grew up in Pensacola, Florida. So he was a drummer. In fact, his story is how he would slip out the window at about 11 at night. My dad, his sister Lois, and brother Clarence were all orphaned. Their mom died when my dad was 5, my grandmother. And grandfather really had a hard time with that loss. They were real close. I guess, maybe had a breakdown of sorts. And basically asked the family to take care of them, and he split. He was a jazz violinist.
Okay.
So they were raised by family members.
Hold on. Is there such thing as a jazz violinist?
Oh, yeah.
Because I got to be honest, I don't know a lot about jazz, but I don't think I ever
there's
remember
some
seeing
hot ones.
a violinist.
Yeah, one of my favorite, a contemporary jazz violinist was Noel Pointer. Another one who's still around today is Jean-Luc Ponty out of France.
All right.
Amazing. That instrument, you know how that instrument can kind of get under your skin a little bit? Well, when you take that instrument and warm it up, like don't have frets or fretless.
Right.
And make it real warm and play. Wow. It almost takes on the sound of a horn.
Really?
Yeah, really,
All right,
really
I'm going to have to
interesting.
educate myself a little bit, but I had to pause you. All right, continue on. I'm sorry.
So, my dad migrates to New York, after, he's orphaned, they're raised. My Uncle Clarence is blind. Really sad kind of story about how he becomes blind. You talk in the South, 1940s, pretty bad time back there for blacks.
Tough,
you know, So couldn't get the kind of treatment. Ended up going blind, but ended up becoming this master music composer.
Wow.
Big time, and a professor of music in, I believe, Tallahassee. Lois, jazz singer, sort of like a Ella Fitzgerald type. Ended up going to New York. Well, my dad went to the Air Force. Just about all the men in my family they're all military men. I didn't go to the service because of my acting career, but I was being courted by the Air Force because I'm a pilot, so I fly, private pilot. So they wanted me to come into their program. So my dad comes to New York after being in Korea, and music, and met my mom, and they got married, and so here I am. So we're living in Harlem, but Harlem took a dive. It took a dive, man. It took a bad dive in the 60s. Heroin.
Because it didn't used to be. That used to be like the place to be.
That was the entertainment place to be.
Yeah, there was a time when you were trying to get there.
Absolutely. Well, this era was the time to get out of there.
Okay.
And, I come from regular folks. So, my dad, he was actually aircraft refueler at LaGuardia Airport. So he was refueling. And my mom went out and became a telephone operator, plugging in and unplugging.
Real switchboard.
Yeah, I've gone to work with her. And used to sit there while she switched. And got the monies together and ended up buying a home in Long Island.
Wow.
And we moved to Long Island. Now, I started acting at 5.
What was your first acting gig you got paid for? I mean...
Lavoris. Mouthwash. Lavoris Pucker Power. I'll never forget it. I think the audition was I had to go or something of that nature, and I got it.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. And then from there just took off one commercial after another. All the toys from the 1960s.
Yeah.
All the toys, everything from Hot Wheels and Johnny Lightning and Aurora cars and all of that, and Rock'em Sock'em robots, and then Campbell's soup. And,
that commercial you can still find. You could probably find all of them, but that one with you and the Rock'em Sock'em one, you can still find that online.
Well, we've had a hard time locating them. I've been wanted to put a reel together, and I think somehow or another some of the ad agencies that I worked with have either gone under or they were acquired.
Right.
And a lot of stuff went into their archives and are locked away.
Do you know where I found it? That one for Rock'em Sock'em?
Where?
There's YouTube videos out there that a guy, let's just say Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Or some show. And they recorded it on VHS and they played it, and the commercial is still in there. They didn't cut out the commercial.
See, that's how to find it.
So if you watch them, and all of a sudden you're watching 5 commercials, on the A-Team or Knight Rider or Magnum PI, or go back further, go back to Mission Impossible. There's guys that put up entire episodes. He goes,
Mod Squad,
and they're on there. So I saw.
I'm gonna have to tell Blingy.
There's some work to track them down, but they're there. They're out there. They're all out there. Many copies. So you just got to, you know what? If I run across those, I'll grab them for you. I'll slice them out.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Because if I stumbled across, I do a lot of research and homework in doing this. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm fiddling around on YouTube, I'm not screwing off. Valuable time, energy is being played. This mind is always working. Don't think it's not. All right, back to the interview.
Yeah. So anyway, moved to Long Island, and that was a great change of life. The auditions and my acting never stopped. We're talking 2-3 auditions a week, going downtown, Madison Avenue, the whole ad, the Mad Men era.
Mad Men, yeah.
Sure.
And right in it.
I'm walking in, they're waiting on the blonde-haired child to come in, and I walk in. And they're like, hi. And I'm like, hey.
Dude, put that fro down a little bit, could you?
But what ended up happening is my manager, Kathy Dowd, was brilliant. Irish woman, had a real good sense of the industry, and also really trusted me. And she pulled me into her office. She says, I'm going to send you out for things that they're not expecting you. I don't want you to even think about it. I want you to go in there. Don't even think about what they tell you they want you to do. Go in there and do what you think you should do after having read what we call the sides, or the little excerpt of the script. My mom would help me to understand the adult language, what they're talking about. And I'm like, Mom, why? What does this mean? And she would tell me. So then I would think about it. Okay. And I'd go in and do my thing. And they would hire me because I would do something they didn't think about for their own copy.
Well, then your stuff had to come across more real than a script. You just looked at, I'm this age and I like toys. I know what you want here, and you do it.
Right.
What a difference that would make. Well, I'm telling you, that there's had to be some guys who thought that was refreshing. I'm sure some people just were like, no, that's not what we want. But there's some people that had to go, That's what we're looking for.
Well, it worked because I ended up doing over 40 of them.
Wow.
So I did a lot of commercials.
So when did you make the move to L.A.?
Well, see, that's the
why
thing.
why wouldn't you just stay in on the East Coast?
Well, I agree, but at the same, but when we moved to Long Island, it was a great change of life for me. It was an excellent change because living in Harlem, which I love Harlem, but we couldn't do anything. Our cousins lived in the building where we lived. We rode our bicycles we got for Christmas in the hallway, back and forth in the hallway. We couldn't take it downstairs. If you go downstairs, you get mugged. They take the bike and they go. So moving to Long Island was nice. My cousins' bicycles were brought to Long Island. They would come out on the weekends, and we had a backyard. It's like, what? My brother and I in the back, we could dig a hole and bury stuff. We could climb in our tree. We had to cut the grass, too. My dad made us cut the grass, he did the raking, and we did the picking up and putting in the bag. And I said, well, Dad, it comes with a bag that can catch the grass. He goes, no, I'm cutting the grass. I'm raking it. You guys are picking it up. That was our chore. That was our job. And it was a good thing because it taught us, my brother and I both, a lot about make your money. Get be responsible.
Yeah.
Because we ended up cutting other people's grasses, make our money, and we use that money to buy other things. Like I like aquariums. Well, they're not inexpensive.
No.
The fish die. You got to replace them. You've got to, I had a diatomation system that would filter the water. It's expensive, but I paid for it myself from the money we made from cutting grass. And so it helped my brother and I. But when we became mini bike, and then up to motocross riders, mini bike riders, that gave me an attitude, a good one. It's like I felt like,
well, it's accomplishment, isn't it?
I'm a man's boy.
It's a basic sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're working, you're getting money, and you're doing something.
And you're using it to do something. I had ham radios.
Yeah.
So I went to Radio Shack and got a little job, not working in Radio Shack, but being a consultant for Radio Shack. Because what I did was, a friend of mine, Brett and I, we bought our antennas. My dad was at work. He didn't know. I went up on the roof, drilled a few holes, filled it, cleaned it up so it's, weatherproofed, threw this high antenna up and guide wire to each corner of the house, put the lightning rod on it, wired through the house into my bedroom.
Before Dad came home.
When he came home, the neighbors are looking up at the roof, and he's like, what is that? But I had a ham radio, and then I had done so well with it. I was skipping off of the clouds talking to the truckers. They're down in the South. They got to know me. Truckers are talking to me, and I'm like, yeah. They go, yeah, boy, you back up here again, It's that diamond dice up there in that New York, And it was great. So Radio Shack hired myself and Brett to be a consultant to help other people realize Long Island gets hit with really bad storms. Heavy hurricanes, lightning storms. Power is always out, but your ham radio can have a backup power source, and you can stay in the know of what's going on around you.
Sure.
So we started selling these systems to all these different homes, and that was my pride. Even though I'm an actor, I felt like I ride motocross. I sell radio systems.
Yeah.
My brother and I still have our accounts to cut grass. My fish are happy. My tank looks good. So when I go to auditions, I had some swagger about me.
I bet.
Not arrogant swagger, but confident.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. And that changed from when I was younger, where I came in to do something, cute kid who's doing something they didn't expect, and they hire me. Now I came in with confidence, and they were like, wow, he's really
Well, you can
confident.
see in any profession, it's got to be especially in yours, you can tell when someone's nervous about an audition, they're lost in an audition, or they're confident that they're going to get the audition.
Right. And also, I didn't walk in feeling like I needed it.
Yep. Oh,
I got stuff to do. I've got to get a couple more antenna up, you know.
So let's get this over with. Hire me, don't hire me, but I got stuff
Right,
to
let's
do.
go. Let's go. What are you guys looking for?
Right.
And then I would just drop it and they would hire me. So getting to the whole why I moved from New York to LA thing, it really was this confidence thing that is kind of a New York kind of a thing, but it really isn't. It's a confidence, a person.
Personal, yeah.
It's a very personal kind of a person who knows themselves kind of thing.
And that's what drove you. How did you get out here? How did you get out to this side of the
So I did a movie called Mixed Company. That was a whole thing. I auditioned in New York. And I read, and I kept doing this thing over and over again.
You had to go back and back. Again?
Back, yeah, call back. And I was the only one at the final call back. But even afterwards, the director, Mel Shavelson, says, "Heywood, this is really good, but I need you to give me a little more, man. Come on, I want you to go there. I mean, this is Freddie. He's got a mouth on him. He's, come on."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, here we go. So I said, I know all the curse words. So when we started, I went in and I just let him have it. Even though my mom was on the other side of the door.
Well, yeah, you did a job, man. This is the job.
It still was, I was nervous.
I bet.
I thought I was going to really get it. And I didn't, I came out. She said, "I heard you." I went, "I know, Mom." She went, "No, you did great. It was good."
Yeah.
This was like, I don't know, maybe February or something. I heard nothing. March, nothing. April, nothing. I'm like, what? I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I went on back to my motorcycle meets and back to school, and I was on the wrestling team. I'm wrestling. I'm doing what I do. And we get a phone call like in October. You got the movie. I'm like, what? Okay.
Movie should have been filmed by now.
Yeah.
We should have been post-production.
Yeah, it should have been out. And they fly me to L.A. It was my first time getting to California. And I was introduced to California with smog.
Yeah, but if you came from New York in October, it had to be a whole different temperature of California October is very different than New York
Hot,
October.
Dry, and unfortunately, I woke up in the morning and couldn't open my eyes. They were stuck together with all the mucus. My mother had to use a cloth and wet washcloth to wipe them off.
Is that from the smog?
The smog was so bad in LA.
We don't even charge you guys extra for that when you outsiders show up. We give you that for free.
Yeah, well, I got a whole lot of it. But we shot the movie. We left there.
Who was in the movie? Was it anybody or?
Yeah, Joe Bologna, really great actor. Barbara Harris, incredible actress. Lisa Garrettson. Lisa was in Mary Tyler Moore. Okay. She was the young girl in Mary Tyler Moore. And then she left that and then came to, she did the movie and then she was in the movie. No, she left Mary Tyler Moore.
Mary Tyler Moore was early.
Right, and then she came and did the film. And, great film. And then we went to Phoenix, Arizona, because it was about a basketball coach who coached the Phoenix Suns. So we were in the arena with the Suns while they're really playing the real games while we're shooting. So we can get the crowds and all. And headed on back to New York. Movie opened up, big to do. I'm back in New York now. Even took a trip to Europe with my Spanish class. They showed the movie on the plane when we were coming back, And that got many people talking about me. So they took me to Broadway. And I ended up on Broadway with Valerie Harper, also from Mary Tyler Moore.
Wow.
And Richard Mulligan. From Soap, and a whole host of other very, very experienced actors. And we ran for 2 years, and then when we were canceled, they took me to L.A. to.
Well, what show was it? What was it?
Thieves.
Thieves
by
Broadway.
Yeah, by Herb Gardner.
Now, were you on Broadway or were you off Broadway?
We rehearsed in the Broadhurst Theater on 44th Street and Broadway. Went to New Haven, ran for a while in New Haven, went to Boston, ran in Boston, got shut down in Boston because the theme of the show was abortion. And they shut us down. Valerie Harper left the show, and Marlo Thomas came in.
Oh.
That girl came in.
That girl.
And so we did, and then they did some rewrites on the script. Finished in Boston, and then we went back to the Broadhurst Theater on Broadway on 44th, stayed there for a year and a half, and then went to the Long Acre.
Just because I ask when people say that, I'm not in the business, of course, but people say So I was in a Broadway production. It's like, oh, was it on Broadway? Well, it was off.
Well, it was in
Broadway.
Staten Island, but
it was off Broadway.
Right.
Well, like that's 9 streets off Broadway. You know?
The thing is, though, nowadays the off Broadway shows are the ones you want to go see.
Are they?
They're edgy, they're really entertaining, and the people are hungry, so they really put everything into it. What's on Broadway today has become very touristy. It's the tourist musical shows and all of that.
Yeah,
the
I
real
get you.
stuff is downtown, off Broadway. You know?
I see some of that in Vegas when I go there. Is it some
Right.
of the the stuff on the strips not as cool as it used to be?
No.
You got to go off strip to find some stuff that has
Definitely.
some heart. And
Absolutely,
soul, so.
absolutely. Same way nowadays with the Broadway. From there, I did Sanford and Son. That was an interesting ordeal.
That had to have been so.
Wow.
How much were you around Red Fox?
Yeah, every day.
Wow.
Here I am,
Wow.
a kid around Red. I'm around LaWanda Page, who played on Esther.
Yeah, right, and she was great. I
She's
thought she was
incredible.
brilliant. But who played the son again? Sanford.
Demon Wilson.
Whatever happened to him?
He's around. I mean, he hasn't been around a lot. In fact, my wife and I were just talking about him earlier on our drive in here because he's been going to these streaming gossip shows with the young kids, talking about some of the controversies that are going on. And
I don't remember him. I don't place him after Sanford.
he didn't do anything else, right?
Oh, okay.
But he's a real hard ass, I think.
Yeah.
He's been around, military guy. He knows a lot. He's seen a lot. He's gotten knocked over the head a few times by the industry, quite a bit. So he's not very nice to the young folk when he's talking to them. And his main thing is, boy, look, you need to do some research.
Yeah.
And he's right. In a lot of ways, he's absolutely right. If you're going to come in and talk about subject matter,
Know what you're
please
talking about.
know what
Yeah.
you're talking
You
about.
say something.
Have the facts. Even if you differ in opinion,
Yeah.
at least know the facts.
Yeah.
And
You
so
gotta
he's
know what
right.
you're talking about to have an opinion one way or the other. Right or
Yeah.
wrong. You can be wrong, but know what you're talking
But
about.
at least know what you're talking about,
Well,
you know.
Sanford and Son, what role did you play? What character did you play?
Grady's grandson. Grady
Grady's
was
grandson.
Fred Sanford's best friend.
And Grady got the spinoff for a
And
year.
he got the spin-off Grady, and I played his grandson in that, along with Joseph Morton, incredible actor. Joe Morton is, and it was just Nat King Cole's daughter played my mom,
No way.
Carol Cole.
No way.
Yeah, Natalie's sister.
I did not know that.
Carol Cole played my mother.
What
Yeah,
a small world. Every time you turn around, you're telling me, and this happens when you and I are just sitting around talking about stuff. You're like, well, did you know that person who played that was the wife, the husband, the son, the father? And I'm like, I had no idea that there was relations in there. And it's great to know that stuff. It
Roseanne
really is.
Caton played my sister. But you and I've talked about. From there, I went on to do what's happening.
What happened to well, did you finish the run of Sanford and Son? Were you there?
No, I did just a couple episodes.
Okay.
And then went right into Grady.
But Grady got canceled pretty quick.
Yeah, like in 10 weeks. I barely got a chance to get some smog.
Well, I'll see if we can arrange to make up for our
Yeah,
indiscretions
thanks.
on that. I do apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went. How far after Grady did you start working into getting towards what's happening?
It was immediate. I mean, even before all of that, I got pulled into being Good Times.
Oh.
I read for the character of Michael.
But you didn't get that, Michael.
No, after screen test after screen test. Bernadette Stannis, who played Thelma in that show, and we screen tested together. It went really well. And then they released me. And I didn't, was kind of hurt by it.
Yeah.
Confused by it, tried not to let it bother me, went on back to my Long Island, New York lifestyle.
Right.
But it was because I didn't have as much live audience experience.
And Broadway didn't count?
No, Broadway came immediately after that.
Oh.
And I got the experience.
Okay.
The person that they picked was Ralph Carter. And what a perfect choice. They made exactly the right choice. He was so talented. He could sing. He had been in so many plays. Raisin, like Raisin in the Sun.
Yeah.
He had been in Raisin. He had been in The Me Nobody Knows and a number of other plays. And he was a great singer and a really good actor and great with live audience. So they brought him in. He was perfect for that role.
They see in Good Times, they seem to have. I think they nailed the cast in every way they could.
They really did.
With John Amos being the dad,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who played the mom, but boy,
Esther Roll.
she was solid.
Solid.
They hit it, and then you go when you're a kid, which I was. We watch the shows when they're on TV, and when they're not, you go do something else. So I don't. When I was little, I didn't really know when shows got canceled or why. It's like, oh, it's not on anymore. I didn't think twice about it.
Right.
But then you get to be a grown up. Then you go back and read and you listen. And I don't know how much of that you know about, but it seemed like John Amos was very upset at how the black family was being portrayed.
Sure.
And I'm not sure what he said. I'm not sure what specific things, but he just was like, this isn't how we live.
Right.
And what a tragedy to lose a guy, because they got rid of him off the show, I think.
They sure did. And Esther Roll was not happy. She said, no, I want my husband in the show. We may be poor as a family, but I want to show that even through all of that, poor people, I don't care what ethnicity, poor people have an anchor, and it's the family itself. And that involves a mom and a dad.
I don't know why Hollywood directors and producers, I don't know why studios mess with something that works. You had so many good black shows back then that the cast had just dialed in, kind of like, leave us alone, we got it. Write the script, we'll do our job. And then sure enough, they start changing stuff, or they paint a picture that they shouldn't be painting.
Yeah.
And then you guys got to act it out, even though you know it's not
No
right.
choice. We're on contract. We're actors. You know what Orson Welles said? He had done some not very successful pictures.
Yeah.
And he was out in public, and some of the people were really panning him for it. Oh, my God, why would you do a film like that? And Orson was very straight and just says, I'm an actor, and actors act.
I guess, man, you're
That's
right.
it.
He's right. You're right.
So you have no choice.
It
You
doesn't
do
mean
your
I
job.
like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, there's much that I've done that I didn't like, but you know what?
So
You do
how
your
did
job.
how did tell everybody how you got your foot in the door with what's happening?
Right. So Grady gets canceled, and Whitman Mayo, who played the Grady character, came to me and said, look, they've got this new show that's auditioning in New York. I want you to go and read for it. I think you're perfect. I need you to get there. I said, okay. I mean, we jumped right on a plane
And
immediately.
you developed a friendship with this guy because
Oh,
you've been
sure.
on 2 shows with him now.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we were really, really close. He was very instrumental in making sure that I didn't run the wrong way in Hollywood. And there have been quite a few during What's Happening who played that role as well, but he was one of the first. And then I get to New York. I'm auditioning. They've got this big theater, Broadway theater, where they're holding the auditions. $100,000 pyramid in the background, because I guess that's where they shot the game show.
Right.
And over 300 people are in the audience. And I'm looking like, wow. I didn't look at it like, oh, no. I looked at it like, oh, this is going to take a while.
Yeah.
Because I already had my confidence. I'm like, let me get up there and do what I got to do, please. And I did. And then the producers came up, and to my surprise, it was the same producers from Grady.
Oh.
And from Sanford and Son, same guys.
So you knew these guys.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were doing this show.
Right.
And it was based upon the film Cooley High. And I love that movie, Cooley High. For those listening and in the audience, look it up.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
Good flick.
If about the 1960s, black youth in the 1960s. So, next thing they said, we want you back in LA right away. I was home for just a moment, and then bye to my fish and back out.
Did they already have the other cast members ready to go? Did they already?
No, apparently they had shot a pilot, and they didn't like it. Everybody came across as too old. So they got rid of everybody. They pulled in Ernest Thomas to play Raj, to play
Right.
Preach, was the character he was to play. Later became Raj or Roger. While I was at the audition in New York, Danielle Spencer, who plays Dee, funniest child star I know.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, her timing, her deadpan, her straight
Yes, that
face.
dry. Oh, come on. There's
And
nobody.
she never broke.
Never.
I never saw her break once.
Not until we say cut. Then she carried on. But then she auditioned that same day. I saw her on stage and went, oh, that's Dee. That's got to be Dee. She's good.
Yeah.
Mabel King, who played the mother.
Loved her.
She's like,
There's so much history on her.
Oh,
I
what
started
a lady.
reading. That was a rabbit hole for me. And you go down like, what a talent.
yeah, an amazing talent. What a singer.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And in France, she's huge. They still today, they know her.
It's
huge,
incredible.
Huge talent.
So
She was there.
I'm not trying to railroad your story, but I just
No, but
I get
I-
excited because there's stuff I'm like, I looked that up. I read that.
Right.
It's just powerful
Amazing
stuff.
lady. I didn't know that at the time.
Well, how old were we? 14 or 15 right about now?
Right about now, yeah, but I've just turned 15.
Okay.
And I didn't know who she was, but I could tell her charisma on stage. She was like a Mae West.
Well, people of that caliber, they command a little respect for you. Almost, if you walk in the room with people like that, you know when they're commanding
feel
respect
them.
from others, you're like, ooh, there's something there. You know that. You
Yeah.
can tell.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no doubt. I felt her presence, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I get to L.A., there she is, Mabel King. There's Danielle Spencer, Dee. I'm like, wow.
She beat you to L.A.
Yeah, yeah. Ernest Thomas is there. And then in comes Fred Berry. He comes in this red tam, you know, this beret. He's got these suspenders, these baggy pants, these like real kind of cool looking athletic shoes, and some kind of a
Okay.
T-shirt.
All right. Question. Be honest now. Day one, did Rerun have swagger? Did Fred Berry walk in with some swagger?
I would say
A little bit of confidence there, or did that come later?
no. I would say from day one, rock star.
Ah, good. That's the way I picture
Rock star.
it.
He was in the Lockers, so the Lockers already been on Johnny Carson. He had already toured with everybody.
All right.
They were opening act for all these other big 1970s performers. So
There's a lot of footage of him dancing with those groups too.
yeah, he was
ton.
something, man. He's
Yeah.
really amazing cat. He walked in like, "Hey, everybody."
Yeah.
He
it's like,
sat down.
Here we
you
go.
know. Yeah, I'm like, who is this guy? But he and I hit it off because that confidence thing. Because I had my swagger. I walk in like, look, I've already been on Broadway. I've already been on a TV series.
I've been on
I'm from New
commercials.
York.
Yeah.
I'm a teenager. I got sneakers and I wear really nice pants and cool shirts. I know I'm it.
Yeah. Well,
and I have an afro.
Yeah, I got to say, without your afro, you're a little bit less it these days. I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
I love you. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you had it back then, a little down. But
Well,
we'll
technology works.
we'll get-
I can get it and put the afro in the closet and bring it out when I need it. Or as other actors do. Hey, wait a minute. They all have a kit. They have a hair kit. They can wear any kind of hair they want.
I don't want to know this, man. Don't
It's
tell me.
the truth.
You're gonna ruin some of my most fondest memories. I can tell.
So-
just out of spite, you're gonna do it.
I'm a mannequin. It makes a great actor. You can put on me whatever we
All
need.
right.
You know?
All right. So
And it was
tell me,
good.
When you look at the show, when you look at what's happening, it seems even from the first episode, like you guys instantly had chemistry. It didn't look like you guys hated each other. It didn't look like you guys didn't get along. It looked like everything flowed. There was I've looked at a lot of pilots and a lot of first episodes, and what do they always tell you? Well, the first season, they're finding their characters and development. Yeah, okay, all right, but a lot of it was the actors too.
Yeah, that didn't happen with what's happening. We, to be honest, you mentioned a moment ago with the Good Times cast.
Yeah.
And it seemed like each one had been casted exactly right for their role. Also with what's happening. And in fact, perhaps maybe even more so. Because the moment we got in that room, we all felt very, very familiar with one another. And the moment we got up on our feet and started rehearsing this thing, I have to give credit to Mark Warren. That was our director. Mark Warren had directed so many big names, but namely, his main thing was being around the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
And he spent so much time doing that. And so he had this thing about him of trust. He was Sammy Davis Jr.'s director. He had this trust about him, and he trusted us. So he gave us some feedback, but he laid back and let us do what we felt. And when it was getting a little off from where the character should be, he would just kind of nudge it back. He didn't impose his auteur theory, his directorial power. He let us do what we felt. And then he directed from what he saw us give up. He molded that.
Wow.
And that gave us more chemistry with one another, confidence, and it made each character very unique unto itself.
So tell me, how did Shirley fit into the character? Shirley fit into?
Oh man, Shirley's a love. I love Shirley so much
because they seem to write heavily more towards her right away.
She was brilliant. That's
right away.
Why. She's a brilliant comedian. Her sense of timing was unbelievable. I had timing because coming from Broadway, but hers was natural. She had a natural sense of timing. Her wit, very smart lady, very quick to the wit, and also very confident. Now, she wasn't. She was very sensitive. She had struggled. We found out later, just recently, my wife and I found out that Jimmy Walker from Good Times is the one that got her break at the Comedy Store. She moved from Asheville, North Carolina, poor, moved to L.A. with nothing, lived in a little hotel down by the airport, and she walked from LAX airport to Sunset Boulevard to the Comedy Store every night, hoping to get on.
That's a jaunt. That's a distance.
A long walk.
That ain't around the corner.
No, I'm a New Yorker. I used to walk from Wall Street to Harlem, and it's a great walk, but it's a long walk. That's about that same distance. Wow. And at night, a woman by herself.
Not a good neighborhood by the airport. Now.
No, yeah. Inglewood, no. And then she would get on for 10 minutes and then walk back. Jimmy Walker made an appeal to her. Made an appeal to the producers to put her on, I think it was Bud Yorkin, to put her on What's Happening. And finally she came up, she read for them or whatever, and they loved her and they brought her in. But she had confidence because she knew, worst case scenario, I can walk from LAX to the Comedy Store.
Right, yeah, worst case.
Worse.
Well, let me ask you this, because I paid attention to some of you when you're a kid, you go through it and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
When you're older, you start paying attention. Like, well, the script and the comedy and the angle and what are they? What are you look at things differently with age. Everybody does. It's no different. But you and I talked about this about a month ago, briefly. A lot of the comedy that was written for your show, What's Happening, that first series, was and tell me if this was just part of the time, the era. But there was a lot of put downs, as they used to say in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
There was, Rerun and Shirley exchanged fat jokes every episode. Once they got into that rhythm, the writers just wrote that in all the time.
Right.
They got one or two digs in every episode, it seemed like.
Absolutely.
You were dumb every episode, Dwayne.
Absolutely.
It was like they said, well, you stupid, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that was the put down,
right.
And I get that. But that, it became such a part of the show.
Yeah.
You're looking at it going, my God, now that I'm older, I just laughed my ass off when I was a kid. And it was fun.
Right.
When you get older, you're like, okay, you guys are really, you dig. How would you stay friends if you did that every day to your friends?
Cheer each other, right.
Did that ever bother the actors off camera? Or like you said earlier, what did Orson Welles say?
Yeah.
I'm an actor. I'm given a script. I play the
actors
part.
act.
And actors act, and I move on. But man, some of that got to stick with you a little bit.
It hurt every episode.
Really?
I have to be honest. Every single episode, it hurt. It hurt during the episode to even say the joke. Fred Berry became a very good friend of mine. I spent a lot of time with he and Francesca Berry, his wife at the time. in Northern California. We rode horses on the beach. We went to jazz concerts together. We spent a lot of time. He was my friend.
Yeah.
Much older than me.
Yeah.
So I didn't hang out with him.
No.
But I felt close. He's an older brother. It hurt to say those things because I could see how much it hurt him. I mean, I'm from New York. I mean, we had thick skin.
Yeah.
We did the dozens at each other and the mama jokes and put downs all day, every day. But it hurt me because I could see that it affected him. When they said things about Shirley, it affected her.
See, I was going to ask you how she took that.
Very sense she cried. There were many, many episodes that Shirley finished the scene and have tears in her eyes, and I would go up to her. I'd run to her and say, "Hey, Shirley, you okay?" She goes, "I'm okay. Leave me alone. I'm fine. I'm fine." And she'd cover and then go away.
Yeah, but why?
Hurt.
Then why would the writers keep writing that? They have to see some of that.
Because the audience laughed.
We did. I was one of them. I'll admit
It
I
was
a
funny.
Kid. I was a kid. I thought it was funny.
People cracked
I
up
did
and
laugh.
they're
It
like,
was great
let's
comedy,
keep it
but-
going.
Yeah. All right.
It is what it is.
I'm guilty of promoting bad writers.
No, they're great writers. It's just that if something works, they're going to put it in there.
Don't change it. Don't change what
No.
works.
I mean,
So
yes,
what?
that's what it
So
is.
at the end of this, now I'm not getting into too much of your personal life here. Maybe we might in a minute, but first of all, I want to talk about the intro and the exit of your damn show. Some dude just went out there with a camera and said, "Okay, Heywood, fall down on the skateboard. All right, Raj, come out the door and smog, and then everybody just give a flap of five and rerun. Fred, come out there with get a sandwich in your hand.
No.
All right, now you guys jump in the truck and you chase it, and that's your intro.
That's not what happened.
That's what it looked like. It looked like one dude went out with you guys. You guys sat down at In-N-Out Burger or Tommy's and said,
No.
let's just film a couple scenes here. And then the end of it was you guys throwing a basketball between you guys,
Right.
walking down a sidewalk. I'm
Right.
like, wow, there's original. I could film that. I could have
Right.
figured that out. It worked. I still haven't forgot it to this day. But it just
yeah.
if you look at it now, you're like, that took 3 hours to film all of this. This was all done in the
Took
morning.
all day. Big production. Blocking the street. The whole thing. But they didn't know what to do. See, I think that's the big issue. We've got some black teenagers, and we really don't know what they do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That wasn't you guys. That would have nobody would have acted that way.
They said I rode. I'm a boarder. I was a surfer, and skateboarder, so I had my skateboard with me, and they were like, "Heywood, you ride your skateboard a little bit?" I went, "Okay." So they came up with the brilliant idea to come down a driveway and hang a right turn. That's all well and good, except the sidewalk is uneven and there's all kind of sand and pebbles. And I mean, if I'm in a dry swimming pool, I can do all kinds of tricks. But I tried to come around that corner, and to my surprise, there was no skateboard under me, and then my butt was on the ground.
So that was an accident.
That was a complete accident.
Okay.
And then I realized, well, I can't break character. When you're an actor, actors act.
Keep going.
Stay in character. I come from Broadway. Broadway, if you tripped and fell, you didn't stop and go back.
No.
You keep going.
Yeah.
So I stayed in character and kind of felt a little embarrassed and looked around and just
did the laugh.
And then smiled to the camera.
Yeah.
Ernest, they had him come out. They told him, they're talking to him the whole time he's doing it. He's come outside,
fresh air
get a nice breath of smog, and he does his number.
I gotta say, I don't care if it's a white neighborhood or a black neighborhood or a Mexican neighborhood. I gotta tell you, in all my 56 years on this planet, I don't think I have ever driven down a street and seen anybody come out of their house
doing
and just
that.
give you one of these in L.A.
No, not in L.A. No, not in any urban scene.
No, just
you're not getting a breath of fresh air, not at all.
Whose houses did you guys use? Because Fred was in a balcony.
Yeah, just some people that they had rented their homes, and I've gone back to find those homes. Blingy and I in the car cruising around.
Did you find them?
We called my mom, and she told me the streets, and we went back. And I'm like, this doesn't look familiar, man. Well, there's a guy on YouTube that did the same thing, and he went and he did the research. The homes have been torn down and new homes put up, and that's why I didn't recognize. But when you look, he puts them side by side. You can see it's the same property.
Yeah.
Where the driveway where I fell on the
I
skateboard
dig
is
watching
the
those
same.
guys on YouTube do that where they find something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that. It's
great.
Yeah.
So he
good
hit
stuff.
me up on Instagram, and I hit him back and said, "Yeah, man," because he asked me, "Did I know where it was?" I says, "I have an idea. These are the streets my mom told me, but I couldn't find it." And he went back and found it and put it up. So I hit him back up and said, "Hey, got a chance to see that. That was fantastic. I'm so glad you did that. Thank you."
It always means something when a guy like you takes the time to acknowledge, some guy putting forth the effort.
Oh yeah,
it's great when you
appreciated it
yeah.
so much.
That's
You
such a
know,
big thing.
It was a really cool thing that he did, and I'm thinking to go back there and shoot the skateboard scene again.
You got to tell me. I'll go down with
Yeah,
you.
the same place.
I gotta
I'm gonna
go
go
with
down
you.
the
Yeah.
same spot, but now I'm really acting. Because this time I'm gonna. It's a stunt job.
Hey, could I
gonna do it.
I'm fat. Could I be rerun?
I got a red beret for
I
you.
will wear the beret and the suspenders.
Speaking of that, his son is a spitting image of him.
Really?
It's creepy.
I heard he changed his name to Rerun. He legally
did.
changed his name because the Columbia, I guess, who owns it.
Yeah.
They owned all the stuff. He said, "Well, you can't stop me from being Rerun if my name is Rerun.
That's right.
You can't stop me from being this guy if that's
And
my
he's
name."
right.
And he just took off, and then they couldn't stop him from doing anything as Rerun.
And I think that's the big fight. The big fight is they're saying, well, wait a minute. By contract, we all have it in our contract. Things that are either said and done or developed in the series belongs to the corporation.
Right.
Makes sense.
Okay.
It's licensing and intellectual property. I get it. But in his case, he was in the lockers. He dressed that way as a locker. He came to the show wearing the beret, suspenders, and dancing.
So it was really his character,
It's
not
really
theirs.
his, not theirs.
Not their character. That was
So
his
they
character.
kind of commandeered it, and it really made him angry because it stopped him from making money in what he really does or did elsewhere. So
Well, so the series ran, was it almost 3 years?
yeah,
The first series.
It was three seasons.
And then what happened? Why did it stop? Because when I looked at the homework, did some homework on that. It wasn't just you were getting a little bit low in the rate. Other shows stayed on with lower ratings than what you guys had.
Absolutely.
But they moved it looked like they moved your time slot around too. And that damages things. You I could do the great job, but you got to put us where people can see us.
Yeah, we went from like number 10 to 64 in a week.
Yeah, and that
doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. No, nobody just all of a sudden
Doesn't
decides they
happen.
don't like you.
Not with what's happening.
No,
I mean, everybody,
no. You don't just take something and all of a sudden 1 week they like you and 1 week they don't. You haven't even done anything to cause people to go away.
Right.
You do an episode or two that people don't like, maybe, but no way was it like that.
There's only one way that happens, and that's if people can't find you.
Right.
And that's what
right.
happened. It moved us from 8:30 on Thursday to 8 o'clock on Saturday. Then when the TV Guide is still printing Thursday 8:30, but we came on Saturday, then the next week it says Saturday at 8 o'clock, but they've moved us to Sunday at 8:30. Do that about 3 weeks in a row, and you go from
You're
10
done. Well,
to
people,
64.
They don't know where you are.
Yeah. Now, why? That's the big kicker.
Well, what was the point of that? Because then you told me later they had to revive the series in the 80s
Sure.
so they could put it into, the reruns and get residuals. They had to get more time on it. So why not why didn't they think about that and just leave it where it is and keep running the show?
A couple things. One, first of all, now that I'm into the business of entertainment,
Sure.
later for show, I'm into the business, then a show. I understand the revenue models. I understand how it works, how to develop a series. What does it mean to the corporation that's distributing the series? How do they make their money? It's a business.
Sure.
So, number one, you've got Fred Berry and Ernest Thomas walking off of the show for more money.
Now, did they finish the season
No, they waited mid-season and they cut and just walked. They wanted better conditions, better dressing room, more money. The show was really popular. I get it. But I believe, this is only my opinion, if you're an ensemble, there's a way to do it. You have to all talk. You have to get together. You got to have a favorite nations kind of a contract and mentality that what one gets, all gets. And let's go and talk to them and say, look, we know our value. We want a bigger cut. We're all together. Either you have us or you don't have a show.
That's not everybody does this.
Everybody does it.
This isn't like something you guys were going out of bounds
Everybody
on.
does
No.
it.
This is
Big Bang Theory.
And it's
you know,
at the right time.
It
It's
goes on
when
and
you're
on.
hot. It's when things. Of course, that's when you do it.
Sure.
So all this is natural. Why didn't it work?
Because they didn't do it the right way. They were green, young, arrogant, wild, making money, popular, partying, 70s.
Yeah.
They botched it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was a kid, so, we'll have to take my opinion with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah, but it's, okay, you could take your opinion at the time as a grain of salt, but you look back on it now with the experience you have now, with all of the information you had available. Now you're you're looking at it through a different lens. And if you still feel the same way, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I would have,
There's some truth to that.
If I had the knowledge I have today and the experience in business and developing series, showrunner kind of experience,
sure,
I would have snatched him. Fred would be a little tougher because he was a bigger, he's kind of a wide guy, but Ernest, they would have got snatched by me and pulled aside.
By the back of the car.
And I would say, sit down. Sit down. Here's the deal, guys. You're going to blow it if you do it that way. Don't be stupid. You want to get this done? Let's plan it. Let's be strategic about it. Let's look at when the owner-operator networks and the other networks, the affiliated networks, come to buy.
Right.
Let's talk about the advertisers, the sponsors. Let's figure this thing out, and we'll know exactly when to go in and have the conversation
together,
all of us. Shirley, Mabel,
everybody,
Danielle,
all at once, right?
All of us at once. That's what I would have said to them. They didn't do that, and they made an annoyance, and it turned into a rant back and forth between them and the executive producers. Racial accusations of racism and all kind of bullshit was put out that just kind of soured the whole deal. And we talk about what's happening, which is a great deal. It's great. It was excellent.
Right.
And it just put a real nasty feel into it. It left Shirley Hemphill very angry, and me, because we had to work even though, first of all, they put us out of work. That's not cool. Not just us, the actors, our entire crew.
Yeah, you're done.
That's not
when
fair.
When did you find out? Did you know that the third season was the end of it?
No, we didn't know anything. They came back acquiring and picking up nothing of what they went out for.
Right.
We just went back to work and we just flowed, and we finished our third season, went on hiatus, ready to come back. Hiatus, you go out in March, come back in July. Ready to come back in July and do season 4 and really crank this thing, right? And we get a call late March. The network canceled the show. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh. So partially because of what they did, but with what I understand today, it was also a business move. That was the beginning of the kind of, or the type of syndication of television we know today. Shows are syndicated all the time now. They try to go at least 8 seasons, and then you syndicate.
Right.
And you make a lot of money.
Right.
Make all the money from the syndication plus the money you made from the 8 seasons. You do really well. And you might even get some merch out there. Merchandise it a little bit. Get, bobblehead.
You guys had some out there. You guys had lunch pails.
Yeah. Originally, they did put those out. There was a lot more, too, but it never got distributed because of
Did you
what
get
happened.
your lunch pail money? Did you get lunch pail money at that
I did
time?
not get lunch pail money. But, the thing is, they needed to syndicate what's happening. I think they were tired of the nonsense that the accusations really bothered them.
Yeah.
From Ernest and Fred. They were tired of it. They said, let's do the syndication thing. Cancel it, and we'll put it in. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough shows. It's only 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Syndication was pretty new. I mean, Lucy and Desi Arnaz had syndicated. But other shows had never really syndicated before. We were kind of on the cusp of that in a trial run, and they found out they were short. Ernest Thomas by now had gone out, and he most of his interviews he talks about it. He had really had kind of a real bad run, drugs and partying and carrying on, and put himself into a pretty bad financial situation.
Pretty tough spot.
Yeah, really bad spot, self-induced. Pulled himself up and out of it, but he went and made the appeal. Hey, why don't we do a newer version of the show? And he gave him his pitch, and Columbia went with it. Good pitch, also good business. We need it.
Yeah, it gives you enough episodes.
We need some more episodes
to get you into syndication.
And so what's happening now became a reality. And how many years? 6 years after the show was canceled, we came back and did it.
Let me take a swig of the sweet nectar from Coca-Cola here.
There we go. I'm gonna have some Mountain Juice.
There you
some
go.
Water.
What's happening now was in the mid '80s. Yeah. What's happening now? I don't think I remember seeing too much of it. I wasn't watching a lot of TV at that time. I started down the road doing other things. But went back, watched it anytime it was on. You catch it, you'd see that because I'd seen it before. Yeah. But since connecting with you, I've really gone back and said, you know what? I remember a lot of this. I want to sit down and go through it and just kind of. I got to tell you, I didn't like the writing in the second series you guys did. Yeah. At all compared to the first. Now I know the name calling and stuff in the first, but I looked at so much of that second series. I just looked at it. Was like, what are we doing? It just didn't seem to have. And I didn't like. And see, I can say this because I'm not part of the show. Nobody can fire me. I didn't care for Raj's wife. Okay. The character. I don't know what she was like in person, but I didn't care for the character. It didn't seem to fit. She seemed kind of. It seemed kind of like the character that Raj and Dwayne and Rerun were just average, the poor to middle class guys, and then this girl comes in like a little uppity. Mm-hmm. It just didn't seem to fit. For me, it didn't seem to. And then I got confused because I saw a trailer with Fred Berry in Rerun, and he was selling used cars. Right. And I was, okay, well now we got, he's going to be a car salesman. And why they had you doing computers or whatever it was you were doing, because you went from this guy's the dumbest guy on the block, and you always got that dumb look, when something would happen, you went, and you developed this character. Yeah. And now you have to change him completely to be a computer guy?
Yeah, I think it is a continuation of what we said in the beginning, with what's happening. The opening sequence, they didn't know what to do with us. The closing sequence, they just said, well, hey, would you play basketball? Right? Yeah, of course I play basketball. I'm a point guard. Yeah. They're like, well, why don't you guys come running towards camera and just kind of y'all be dribbling and getting the ball.
Pass the ball around.
Well, Ernest Thomas doesn't play basketball.
No kidding.
He can barely keep a beat. Fred didn't play basketball. I played basketball, but we did it. Yeah. They didn't know what to do with us. So now, here comes Haywood Nelson. Where had I been? What's happening gets canceled. It threw my life into turmoil, to be quite honest with you. My life was turned upside down because at that point now, I am a multiple home owner. I've got a family that I take care of, along with mom and dad, and dad's working, and between the three of us, we're holding it down. I'm living, I've got not much, but, I have my thing. I'm a gearhead. I like cars. I got my 280Z. I got my Porsche.
Your toys. You got
my toys. I'm doing my thing. I've got a 90-pound Alaskan Malamute dog who her bills were higher than mine. I had to try to figure this out. What am I going to do for money, man? And, I did a lot of things. I worked as a shipmate on boats out of King Harbor in Redondo Beach, untangling lines, tying hooks, filleting fish on the return home, just to fill my freezer and my pocket a little bit. I did a lot of different things. I did Evil Speaks, the movie, with Clint Howard, he and I'm in there. But I wanted to go to school, so I broke out and went to the East Coast, went to school for architecture. Didn't want to be an architect, per se, because I ain't really into... Back then, now I do contracts, but back then I wasn't really into contracts and, and all that, but I like design. Right. So I went to architectural school, did a little bit of, mechanical drafting.
Sure. Yeah.
But then went into architectural drafting, really learning all of it, 16 inches on center, just really, what footers and how to pour slab, what it takes, steel, framing,
right,
HVAC and pressure drop. I had to learn all of that.
Yeah.
I learned electricity,
It sounds more like mechanical engineering, to the nth degree there. But yeah, good stuff.
Really, really picked all that up, graduated, was about to go on and do some quite a bit more of that, and decided that I wanted to go to school for electrical engineering because something that bit me, you can't shake your roots,
right?
My entertainment roots. While I loved all that, I thought there's a real business opportunity here for a company that can put together 3D animations as a presentation item. We already have the spec, you got the plans.
Right.
You got the spec book, right? And you have a model, scale model. That's how you sell a project. What if you could take the potential investors and have them look up at a screen and see the neighborhood that the project is going to go into minus the project, and then erect the project right there on the screen and let them go into the lobby and fly through the inside of the building. Ooh, that would be hot. And I know I can do this. Oh, it takes software. Oh, nobody has designed software to do that yet. There's no CAD. T-square.
No CAD software.
A T-square with different, H and H2 lead. And I'm like, all right. So I don't go on with my architecture. And I go down to New York to Pratt Institute. And I apply and I get accepted into the electrical engineering department. And I go to school for electrical engineering. And it was nothing of what I went there to learn. I'm learning all really great stuff.
Yeah.
The chemistry, the calculus, and I'm learning all that. I'm like, oh, this is all interesting, but this is not what I came here to do.
Right.
When am I going to get to do that stuff? Write a program or something. And I never finished.
So you were thinking about software development before that was even a category to be.
Yeah, nobody was doing it yet.
Yeah.
I know Adobe. No, there was none of that. I'm sitting here trying. My professor in architecture school pulled me aside and said, "You're gonna have to go to school for engineering. You're gonna have to learn how to write this program of what you described to me. Okay? Find a good school." I said, "I love the architecture." He says, "Yeah, but your passion. I can hear it. You're gonna have." So I ended up down there. Well, what's happening now got called up on my junior year.
What a choice!
And I was like, oh,
what a choice!
How many years have I devoted now to my education? I'm on a path that I know if I do this, it's going to be hot. Of course it's going to be hot. Look today.
Yeah.
CAD?
No
CAD
kidding.
is it.
Oh, my
3D,
God. Yeah.
3D Studio Max. This is for 3D animation.
Could have had, right alongside CAD, there could have been a product called Heywood. And everybody
know
would
what I'm saying?
grab the Heywood and let's get out there. You don't know.
Exactly. Because if you look today, all real estate projects have an element of the presentation that
Absolutely.
involves a walk through the project.
Everyone.
I was on it. We're talking 1985.
But then they called you.
I had to go. I get out there. They don't know what to do with Dwayne. He's older now. What do we do with this dumb?
So
he wasn't really dumb, but he was naive.
You came up with the computer thing. You made.
No.
I was going to say.
They forced that on me.
All right.
They said, "What are you doing now?" I remember the first day that I went in, and they were really treating me kind of oddly. I was like, "Okay, I'm in town." They said, "Well, we need a first meeting." I'm like, "Cool. Can you guys send me a car or something? I just got here. I got no wheels yet. I'm just here." And and as I've mentioned to you, I was in school, man. I'm spending few bucks. I went in. I became a lumberjack also, just to make some money to pay for books and tuition.
Yeah.
My money was tight, so they refused to send me a car.
What?
I'm like, what is with these guys, man? Already, I'm starting to feel like regretting. Why did I leave?
Now, had you talked to Ernst or Fred?
No.
On this journey in when you
No.
Because you assume they called everybody and everyone's coming in.
Yeah. So I knew everybody was on, but I hadn't talked to anyone. Didn't have numbers on them anymore. We kind of lost contact. I kind of broke out. I was really pissed off.
I got you. Yeah. No.
I broke out. I'm like, you know what, Hollywood, please leave me alone.
Disenchanted.
Very disenchanted. That's a very good way to put it. And so I get there. I finally got myself to Glendale, to the Glendale studios. And I walk in, and then, these executive producers of these dudes, I don't know who they are. They're new guys. Come to find out they're the sons and nephews of the guys who used to do all the famous shows. I'm like, okay. So, and then so they're like, so what are you doing now? I said, well, I've been in school, the same spiel that I just told you. I told to them, and they're like, oh, all right. And this one, he's giving me a hard time, he's like, I hear you're like the heartthrob. I went, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess the girls really like the Dwayne character. He's the cool guy, but, I don't know that I can even uphold all that, And I'm just like, that's not my thing, man.
Not why you were there. You were coming in to be on the cover of Tiger Beat.
Yeah, I had already been on the cover of Tiger Beat. I had already been on all the magazines, I whatever. What are we going to do with this character?
You were there this time.
Right, let's do something with the Dwayne. I didn't want somebody else to botch it. Let's do something with this guy.
Right.
And there's got to be something creative you can do, because he wasn't stupid. He just was the naive, dumb one. He was the younger one of the three, so he was always at the butt end of the joke or whatever, and he was afraid of the dark. Okay. That's a lot. Let's work with him.
He was afraid of the dark.
He's afraid of the dark.
He told him to go outside and check. He opened the door and shut it and said, yep, nothing out there.
No, the police officer came in and what's happening, and then he says, so let's go out. And Dwayne, why don't you go out? He says, And he's like, well, come on, Dwayne, don't tell me you're afraid of the dark. He says, okay, Raj, you tell him. He was very serious.
Yeah,
he wasn't going out there.
I'm not going outside.
They were in South Central LA at night.
There's a truth to that.
He wasn't a dummy. He was pretty smart. So,
oh man,
they didn't know what to do. Next thing I know, I come back a week later, and there's this script on the table, and I'm this computer guy. I'm like, computer guy? What is this about? And it just got worse from season.
Well, they wrote Raj's character he was a writer?
He always was. He was a good writer in school. Okay. And also in the movie Cooley High, Preach was a writer who went on to become a successful Hollywood writer.
Okay, well, they kept that true. In the first series, they never really talked about Rerun doing anything. His character he
couldn't even get out of high school.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. So,
that's why he was Rerun. He kept rerunning the 12th grade,
So what happened with him? Because you guys did the series without him. You guys went ahead.
Well, we did the show with him. He was in the first season.
First season.
Right. And he was widely popular. Come on, this is Fred Berry.
Yeah.
People love Rerun.
Yeah.
He was wildly popular. He was animated. He was over the top. So I guess the car salesman came out of the fact that he was this natural salesman type.
That fit.
So it fit him perfectly.
Yeah, because in car salesmen, like you and I know, in L.A. in 70s and 80s, car salesmen, they dress up. They try to get attention. You see a guy on TV with a turban.
Absolutely.
That fit.
Wait. I'll give you one. Cal Worthington.
And his dog Spot.
Yeah, and his dog. Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you want to save a buck, go see Cal. If you want to try your luck, go see Cal.
Right. Well, if you want to get a truck,
and you want to change your luck, go see Cal.
Go see Cal. Go see Cal.
And Come on. This is Cal Worthington and my dog Spot.
Yes,
sometimes it was an alligator, and sometimes it was an elephant.
But it worked.
Yeah.
So that was the Rerun character.
That's right.
I embraced the computer thing. I said, look, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Orson Welles in my head.
Do the job.
So I made it because, look, the geeks became, the nerds became the cool guys in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Writing the programs and stuff. Yep. So I started to try to make it like that. Like I'm part of this whole, underground development thing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, all right.
But they kept writing him, I don't know what, pastel colored blazers and ties and these tight looking pants. And I was like, what is this? And I realized they're trying to get rid of all of that cool that I had fought so hard to put in place for Dwayne. They wanted to make sure that I wasn't the heartthrob anymore. Raj was becoming the heartthrob. They were going to make Raj the heartthrob with the new wife and it didn't work.
No, I would have to agree with that. I tell you, I did not care for the writing in the second series as much. Something just didn't. It never clicked for me. All the stuff I watched, it just. What happened? So what happened to Fred? Why did he leave? Tell that story.
Well, because Fred felt that they were writing too much, and it's going to fit right in with what you said, too much about Raj and Nadine. Everything was about Roger and his wife and the things that they get into, and her not being okay with some of the things that they did, and him going with the guys and all of that. And he's like, that's not what we do. It's Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne. The three of us have to keep doing what we do.
Now, see, now that you bring that up, now so many things just click. You take the set, the house, Raj's house, okay, and you would make an argument, well, this is Raj's house, and him and his wife and Rerun and Dwayne come and go. People come and go, but this is the core. It
was always that way.
This is it. Yeah, but when the first series, when Raj was there with Dee and his mama, she was not the center of every conversation.
No,
she was not part of every. It's like that's her house. We knew that.
Right.
That's the center of where we knew that. But she did not have to have an opinion on every single. You guys bounce stuff back and forth, and then she'd come in with some, like what's going on here.
Right.
But that's not how they wrote the second one.
No, it was completely changed, and I can't say that it wasn't, if not initiated, condoned by Ernest Thomas. Fred Berry knew that he was the most popular thing there was.
Yep, for sure.
And he and I have talked about it. We talked about it over and over. He knew. He says, and they're making you not popular no more.
Yeah, they were toning you down.
You was really popular. But the talk became Fred Berry and Haywood Nelson becoming a new odd couple, a spinoff. Because what happened was Raj and Rerun used to share an apartment at the end of What's Happening when Mabel King walked off the show. She walked off because she wanted better writing that involved her. She wanted a husband, just like Esther Roll in Good Time.
Yep.
And they wouldn't give her either, and she left. And she went and did the movie The Wiz and did very well with it.
Very well, yeah.
Here now, Fred's complaining because he's not getting his due. I'm definitely not happy with the way it is with me. Yet, they put us as roommates where we shared an apartment together. And it worked.
Yep.
Because he was the flamboyant one with all the friends, and I'm the computer nerd who's trying to get something done, but I'm also sloppy. I got cables everywhere. And he's like, look at our place, you're tearing.
Man, if you guys would have had a shot at an odd couple.
Would have been great.
A black odd couple and younger.
Yes.
Oh my God, would that have been funny?
Yes. It would have been funny.
You already had the characters developed.
It
there
would have
wasn't
been
any
funny,
homework
man.
to do here.
And they wouldn't go with it. So Fred said, if I have to do this, I want a lot more money. And this is where the only time when he and I differed.
Yeah.
Because I am a stickler for learning, like we said earlier, do your research, do your homework, know what you're talking about, or shut up.
Yeah.
And he had this red carrot top manager who's half his age telling him what to do. And I'm looking at this guy going, this guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow.
You needed an old school guy who could sit down, put his hat on the table, cross his legs with a drink and go, let's have a talk with the producers.
Right. And
that's what you needed.
This is what we need. And that's not what he had. He went in and asked for more money than Bill Cosby was making on The Cosby Show.
Oh, come on. That can't
There we go.
That can't be right.
It is true. And the problem with that is, for the obvious reason, but also, we're a syndicated show. Our per episode budget was far less than what Bill Cosby was making per episode.
Sure.
So how are you going to pay Fred that kind of salary when it exceeds our whole episodic budget? It's just bad business. It's just ignorant.
Yeah, ignorant would be the right word because it's not logical. It's not not a reasonable.
It's not possible.
That's like his manager walking in and say, listen, if you want Fred back, all scenes are going to be shot on the moon. That's
right.
it. If you don't want to film on the moon, he's out. I mean, you can't ask for something that's not plausible.
I asked the question of Fred Berry. I reached out to him and said, look, first of all, it makes no sense to me, so I can only assume that what you've decided is you just want off of the show and this was your poison pill. Is that correct? You're trying to throw a poison pill in the mix so you can get out. And he's like, no, brother, I want it. They won't give me what
so
I'm
he actually thought there was a chance at getting that?
Yes. And I had to explain to him what the budget is per episode. I found out by making a few calls. He's like, well, I didn't know that. I'm like, well, you needed to know that before you went and did what you did.
Again, do your homework, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And then he went beneath the window of the president of Colombia.
What?
And invited Eyewitness News.
No.
And tore his contract up on air. Not on air, on tape.
But still.
Everybody in the president's office is looking out the window at it happening. And you know what? It was so distasteful, Eyewitness News didn't even air it.
Wow.
Now, that's part of the story I'm getting by hearsay.
Well, sure, but sounds right.
After that, no more Fred Berry. Gone.
Well, the show really struggled to find a cohesive story without him there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now it's just you and Raj being just two guys. Right. There's not that third person you don't have all three aspects anymore. Right. Now you got two wheels of a tricycle. That's tough.
And I have to give some credit to the writers. They're brilliant. The writers that they brought on is the writers from Jeffersons. They're brilliant. Jay Moriarty, incredible guy. First of all, one sweetheart of a guy, real good, heartfelt guy. A friend of mine today, wonderful person. Mike Milligan, incredible talent. These are two guys, the Jeffersons.
Yeah. Monster show.
And bring them into a situation that's so hard for them to have to work out. It's just ridiculous. So, they did their best, and we got what we got out of it. And that's what's happening now. And it is what it is.
I'm assuming your contract that you negotiated was much better the second time around.
It was better for everybody, for all of us. We got a better contract. We got paid. We get paid for syndication now, whereas the early show, we got paid for syndication, but a lot of it is credited against prior earnings, so you don't get as much.
Right.
But what's happening now is a better contract. But if you look at it, it's still not what it should be. I mean, the kids today are making millions of dollars, and we didn't.
No.
And it's just, there's no way to try to front. I'm not a poser. We did not make millions and millions of dollars from what's happening or what's happening now. We made some pretty good money, though, for the time and the era, but nothing like what I think is commensurate.
So we talked about you being disenchanted, a little jaded at the end of the first run.
Yeah.
How'd you feel at the end of the second one? Because what happened to ultimately kill that show? Because it went 3 seasons also.
Yeah, no, that one, we had a 7-year contract, but they only needed 3 years to fulfill syndication.
Right.
So they let us know ahead of time. We're just going to, at the end of the 3rd season, we're going to end this.
Right.
Unfortunately, that comes, after I've, let go of an opportunity to be in Platoon, the movie, and otherwise, which I'm not going to get into.
Hold on a second. You mentioned that to me before. We were drinking one night, and you said that. Now, I just thought we were drinking, and you were full of shit. Did that really happen?
That really happened, man. I mean,
really?
Yeah. The opportunity came about in the middle of the season. Again, I can be disgruntled about it, but as a business person now in entertainment, I understand. The show was pre-sold with all of the characters.
Right.
And
what's happening now?
What's happening now.
Okay. Yeah.
So those who purchased it purchased a package.
Sure.
You can't sell that package without all the elements.
Right.
Now, could they have worked around me? Yes.
Well,
but they wouldn't even send me a car.
Look, my man, how did that even come across your desk? How did that even come to be where there's even a chance at you being in Platoon?
Oh, but, I keep an agent and manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they know you're tied up.
They still sent me for the audition.
Are you telling me they're still shopping you when you?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because you have a hiatus.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Anne-Marie Johnson did. I got to think about it. I'm trying to think. She did Robert Townsend's movies, so she did a couple of films on hiatus. Mabel King during What's Happening on hiatus. She did The Wiz. You can go shoot other things.
So they shopped you around just to get you going, and
just to keep stuff rolling.
But the timing just didn't work, huh?
Yeah, and they wouldn't work with us. They didn't work, they wouldn't let me go. They wouldn't shoot around me. I only needed a few weeks in the Philippines, and it just didn't work out. So
Why don't you just call in sick for a few weeks?
right. That's
You're just like, you know what? I took a weekend off. I was in the Philippines. I broke my leg. I think I got gangrene.
Yeah.
I don't want everybody to catch my gangrene. I'll call you when I'm better. Click.
I got athlete's foot in the mouth.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't
I
talk.
can't come in.
I can't talk. You got
I got whooping call.
You want to come over here and see me? Come over to the Philippines. I'll tell you where I'm at. Now, leave me alone. Click.
I'm seeing a special doctor.
Do you think they would have figured out what you were doing?
Yeah, they would have called me on breach and sued me for the rest of my 7-year contract.
But if you only missed a couple, 3 weeks,
I would have been a mess in a real mess of greens.
Okay,
it would have been really, really bad.
Well, there's a dumb mechanic. I'm just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. I use a lot of $3 words here, but in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm gonna find a way to old school this with I don't feel good, pull some Little Rascal shit on them.
Yeah, hindsight is 20/20.
Well, if you now answer that. If you had it to do over again, would you have played it the same and stayed with the show, or would you have tried?
I have a commitment to an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I'm real loyal.
Yeah.
So, but in hindsight, because the writing wasn't really hitting the way I think it should have for the 3 guys, Fred was already gone.
Yeah.
I probably would have had a serious torn something and gone to the Philippines to get it treated and come back feeling much better, but then also playing Junior in Platoon.
And how much trouble could you, if you pulled off a fake injury or illness, if you had, how much trouble could you have got in with Columbia back at the studio?
A lot of trouble, and they probably would not have put me in any movie. However, it's today where I'm sitting, they've never put me in a movie.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm asking. Is that would they have cut you from the show because you missed 3 weeks, or would they have put you back in there? They'd have lectured you a little bit, but you'd have carried on. You had more work to do. They had more episodes.
They might have cut me out. I don't know. You just don't know. They may have cut me out.
Well, it couldn't have gone any worse for the show. The show didn't last anyway.
Because I mean, literally, I stayed and didn't go do Platoon, and the show was done like not even 6 to 8 months later. So,
Tough call. Then tough call. Even looking back, it's a tough call now. Even looking back with hindsight, what could you have done? Or not done? But
but I believe I'm exactly where I should be. Everything is exactly for the right reason.
Well, let's look at it this way, and let me help you put it in perspective. All right. Mm-hmm. Had you chosen to fake an injury and end up in the Philippines, been in the movie Platoon, you would have met more people. Mm-hmm. Maybe other opportunities would have come. I think you're in the right place. I think you made the right decisions. I think you ended up your life evolving on the path perfectly, or you would not have ended up in this studio with Genx
That's
Talk,
right, exactly.
On April 19th.
That's right.
2024. We would not be here.
I agree.
This was divine intervention.
Yes, it
that
was.
Brought us to this location.
Yes, it was.
In this time-space continuum, my man.
I'm feeling it.
If that isn't the most selfish plug I could have ever given myself ever.
No, it's perfect. I've been able to do things and be places that I probably would not have made it to. The first .com, for instance. Becoming the CEO of a company that had an internet product and an industry-specific tool for the hospitality industry would not have happened. Employees that I had to look after during post 9/11 would not have happened, which all taught me a great deal about who I am today. So I'm grateful.
I will tell you that I'm a better man for knowing you. I am, because the stories that you've shared and the character that you've told me, decisions that you've made, it just reinforces anyone who's around you, and especially me. It reinforces about making those commitments and sticking to them and doing the right thing, even when no one's going to see it.
Sure.
It's a big thing. It really is. Mm-hmm. So you got so many other things. You're turning your attention now with all of the knowledge you've got from Hollywood and TV land and New York and Broadway and friends that you've known. You seem to know everybody in the industry. And you throw out these stories. I get so pissed off. We're in a group talking to people, and you throw out a story, say, oh, I'll get the name wrong, but you'll say something like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I called up Scott Baio and said, hey, we're doing a celebrity softball thing. You should come down and do. We need one more guy. And you got the guy to come down. Wait. What celebrity softball thing or what all-star, TV all-star thing you talking about?
Yeah.
And you pass through those conversations at a glance, but you know so many people. You've met so many people along the way. You talking about Clint Howard. You're talking about people you knew back then. It's like, all the knowledge you've got and everything you've got to right now. And now you're thinking you're doing some more auditions, right? You're getting back.
I've been auditioning. In fact, I have an audition that I received yesterday, but I'm very busy behind the scenes doing lighting, doing LED and video, and I got in really late, and I was too wiped out. There's just no way I could do this audition.
Yeah,
but it's due. So I'm going to have to do this audition sometime tonight or tomorrow and get it up. So I am auditioning. My acting is really starting to pick up a lot of momentum. I'm getting seen by a lot of people. And it's a good time for me because I have a lot to draw from.
That's my story of
it's amazing.
Your culmination of everything you've done up until now.
Yeah.
Is great.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. I feel that thing again. That confident thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait a minute. I know what to do with this. And I make choices that aren't necessarily the obvious choice. And I make choices that are maybe outside the box in what I do in my delivery.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that is something that makes them, if I'm not even right for that role.
Yeah.
It makes them say,
I'm going to remember that guy.
He works.
Yeah.
He can work.
Yep. I'll remember him for. Okay. I'm going to offer you two things here.
Okay.
As your friend. Number one,
Jack Daniels.
If you ever make it big again, you get up there where people are just clamoring for you and you're signing autographs. I'd like to be the guy carrying your bags. I can be a good butler. You just got to give me a chance. I'll carry them bags right behind you. Yes, Mr. Haywood. No, Mr.
All
Haywood.
that, right.
I will do it.
Right.
The other thing is that you listen, I'm a little surprised you didn't already know this. We'll talk about this later, but if you're in a bind for an audition, they've called you, they've selected you to do an audition, to play a character, to read some lines and do something, and you can't do it. Why didn't you ask me to do it for you?
You know what?
I can get on the camera. Hello, I'm Haywood Nelson, and I'm reading for the part of Alfred the Butler in the new Batman series.
That's right.
I can. You didn't even.
You can pull that off.
You didn't even ask me to stand in for you.
It's coming.
Listen, as an actor, as a fellow actor, hold on, I'm laughing. As a fellow actor, I can attest that I can play Heywood. I could be Dwayne.
You could do it.
If they did another series on there and you didn't want to audition,
right.
I could go and go, I'm Dwayne.
Yeah, right.
I could pull it off, man.
Proxy.
You're not giving me
That's
the chance,
it.
damn it.
That's it. I love it.
Tell me something about Fred that no one knows. Tell me something personal about what kind of man he was after this is all said and done. He did real estate things out towards Florida, I think it was. He changed his name to Rerun. He kept doing things along the Rerun line. Did you guys stay close all the way through?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, he and I ran an acting class together in New York City.
Really?
Acting together. He'd come in. I'd start it off, then he would come in and do his bit, and then I would then take the class through some of the techniques of acting. And but something about Fred that a couple things. When he passed away, I talked to TV Guide. I believe it was TV Guide, yeah, or People. I think it might have been People magazine, and they wanted to know what could I tell them about Fred Berry. And I'm a big jazz fan. I love jazz, so. All I could tell him was, I've heard the stories of the 40s of Louis Armstrong and how when he sang a vocal, he sang it in a way that you didn't think about it until after you heard it. And when you heard it, it brought something new to the song. Mac the Knife and all that stuff. And he's just, he just had a way about his verbiage when he sang.
Yeah.
Fred Berry, when he danced, this is something I remember as a teenager. He helped me to hear things in the song that I had not heard before, based on the moves that he made to the song.
That's a unique observation. That really is.
It was like I had heard this song before, but when I watch him dance to it, I heard other things in the song that I had missed prior. I was like, wow, this guy is pretty special. That's something about Fred Berry that I learned early. Later in life, I learned that he had a great appreciation for nature and living home life.
Yeah.
He's a homebody. He loved having a clean home with good music and good food. He really liked that a lot. And that taught me a lot as a young guy because, I lived in a home. I came up. I had all the things I've mentioned in this interview.
Yeah.
But I had not known what to do on my own, in my own place. And after visiting he and Francesca Berry, I learned what it was that I wanted in a home and how to make it my own. And that has stuck with me till this day, and I'm eternally grateful because it changed me and made me into the man I am.
Before we go, you got to tell that story you told me. I forget where we were sitting on that, on how you came up with "Hey, hey, hey," because that just everybody thinks that's just written in the script. No. Everybody thinks that was given to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I did Grady, the character's name was Heywood, which I didn't agree with, but they do that. Alice and all these shows, Mary Tyler Moore, everybody, they use their real names. Martin. So Heywood was the character. So the character was written where he would come in and tell a really corny joke that no one found funny but him.
Yeah.
And he would just go, he would laugh and go, hey, hey, Heywood.
Right.
And they would all go. So when I got to what's happening, they wanted me to say, knock on the door. And when the door opens, my entrance is, hey, Rerun. Hey, Raj. What's happening? Right. And I thought it was corny. I was like, no way. I got to do something much. I'm in my street cred back in New York. I need something really cool. And I said, you know what? I love Fat Albert, the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Hey, hey, hey. It's Fat Albert. And, we're going to have a good time. Hey, hey, hey. And I said, you know what? But my name's Heywood. And I knocked on that door during the pilot. And I came in, and I don't know what hit me. I said, you're going to get in a lot of trouble, but I'm going for it. And I yelled, hey, hey, hey. And the crowd went wild. And I loved it. They loved it. And after the show, the producers loved it. And
that was it.
That was hot. Do that again. And I've done it, whenever.
Ever since.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
If you put "Hey, hey, hey" on a T-shirt and sold it, would Columbia get pissed?
I mean, there are people doing that already.
I know, but I'm saying
probably not. Until it made a lot of money.
They own the "Hey, hey, hey."
They own that. That's part of the Dwayne character at this point. Very different than the Fred Berry situation.
Yeah.
Fred came to the show with that. I developed that. I should have trademarked it first and then said it.
Yeah.
But it didn't come about that way. It happened during the pilot. A teenage kid.
You can't wait when they say action or go. You can't go, I thought of something. I need to go trademark something. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
Hold my mark right here.
Doesn't go like that. Doesn't go like that. And even if my parents had a run after the pilot and trademarked it, it wouldn't have gone over because I had already said it on air. So it's just one of those things, It's cool.
I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna make a picture of myself flipping off on a T-shirt, and I'm gonna have it go, "Hey, hey, hey," and then "Dear Columbia" or something at the bottom. Hey, 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 Columbia.
Right.
I don't know. It just fresh like this stuff like that. They got so much money. Just leave people alone.
Well, where I could actually incorporate it into something online, YouTube channel. Take the Columbia Pictures animated lady and have her saying it and do something and make a lot of money with it and then give them a lion's share of it.
Yeah.
And they probably would give me money to help promote it.
Yeah, they probably help you push that down the road.
You know.
So you ever thought about, with all the people you know in the industry, you ever thought about doing a podcast yourself where you could, you could get a Zoom call going with so many hundreds of people?
Sure. I'm very much into that podcast.
You could do that.
In fact, there's one in development right now that I actually got together with Ernest Thomas on and Bernadette Stannis from Good Times. And we're talking now. We have a concept. We have things that I think hearing from the three might be really, really cool because we're all very different. We have different perspectives, and there's
The
a
thing
lot
is,
going
there's
on in
no
the world.
investment like a TV show. You don't have to get advertising. You don't got to
Right.
get backers. You can set it
Right.
up and do it. And if it takes off, you're the next Joe Rogan.
Right.
It's something great. If it doesn't, so what? You got all these memories documented of these conversations, and
Sure.
you know people, and Ernst knows people. You bring people in,
Yeah, yeah.
and just have a great time with it, man.
Yeah, probably could happen. I mean, if that time comes, of course I'll call you because you're so good at it. I mean, Gen X Talks is wonderful. I mean, what's the
Appreciate
best
that.
part of Gen X Talks for me?
I have no idea.
The honesty.
Yeah, it's the part that gets me in trouble.
But that's the best part, man. This is what we all want. We all live in the same world together. Most of us who have any common sense is sick and tired of the same old nonsense that we see every single day and hear every single day, and all the BS and all the the polished nonsense, all of the politically correct nonsense. And I can go on and on and on, or I can get a rant going.
Yeah,
Because it's annoying.
sure it is. Yeah,
I came up in the 70s, so it's really annoying for me. And the honesty here is appreciated very
I
much.
think that's probably the number one compliment we get is people going, "That's what I think.
Exactly.
That's what I say," or "That's what I wish I
what I
could say. I wish
feel."
I could
Yeah.
go to work and say what you're saying." And I don't know if you probably didn't hear the World Show today. You guys are running around, but the World Show today, I went off on a rant. I didn't talk. I didn't take questions for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, and my topic was I said I'm done arguing with people.
Right.
People want to argue with charts and graphs and professors and books and studies and focus groups, and then they got all this information and they bring this argument to you, and you're like, "Yeah, okay, let me help you. I got it. I've heard you've been yelling for an hour. I got it. Israel's right. Hamas is wrong. I ain't gonna argue with you no more. You can't behave this way. Israel's right. Iran is wrong. I'm not arguing with you anymore." And same thing with when they do this, the transgendered people injecting 11-year-olds. And I go, I'm not arguing. I had a really good argument with that for people.
Yeah.
And I argue with them and say, listen, we don't let kids do shit because they're stupid. You understand me? They can't drive a car till they're 16 or 18. Why?
Right.
They're stupid. They can't own a gun to a certain age. You can't get it. Can't be. What? Because they're stupid. We don't let you get married until you're older. We don't let you drink until you're older. You have to have a license to go fishing. Why? Because kids are stupid. We wait. Why on earth did you think a child, an 11-year-old, can make a choice about these gender things and injecting drugs into them?
Right.
You're wrong. I don't care what you say. I don't care whose book you read. You're wrong. So I get to a point where today was my first thing. I let people talk and I go, yeah, you're full of shit and you're wrong. Well, tell me where I'm wrong. No, I'm not going to get into the weeds with you. You're a fucking idiot and you're wrong. Whatever the topic is, if I know in my heart with some common sense that there's right and there's a lot of right and wrong in the world. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to muddy the waters. Everybody likes to make, well, everything's fluid and gray. No, there's still some things, there's still some good old-fashioned things that stand true today. Sorry.
Sure.
And today I went for like 30 minutes and said, I'm done on certain topics. I'm done discussing it.
Yeah.
There's right and there's wrong, and I'm sorry, and I'm not going down this road anymore.
And there is, I agree with that. There's right and there's wrong. But, of course, both could be subjective. But there's right and wrong. We have to look at where we are. We live on Earth. We're all earthlings. There are mores and standards that have to do with a so-called civilized world that without, we won't have it. And if we don't have it, we can all live that way. I don't think any of us want to.
No.
And those who talk nonsense and say they do, they're panty wastes. They don't
really
even know what it means.
Yeah, they don't really
They have
know.
no idea what level it can really get to
No.
from a survival standpoint.
Right.
So, I hear people talk a lot and they really don't get it. If we don't all abide by certain rules and standards, we're going to have a situation that none of us are going to be ready to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying
So,
I'm not saying everything that comes my way. I absolutely have a 100% definitive answer, yes, no, up, down, black, white, forward, back. No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But there are certain things I'm tired of debating in this society that I can just go, I'm already there.
You see, that's how I am about politics and religion, both. Because I think there's so much bullshit in both. I'm sick of it, all of it. It's nonsense. It's like, because we don't really know what's really either going on or in religion, what went on.
No. Yeah.
So it's like for me to sit up and waste my time arguing with anybody or debating with anybody about these things to any nth degree.
Yeah, don't make
it's
it
a
long
waste of
conversation.
time. As far as the Middle East is concerned, I mean, come on. This has been going on forever.
Thousands of years.
These people have been fighting with each other forever.
Right.
All of them.
But today, and what I talked about today was, it's like no one who's pushing the button in Iran goes, 2,000 years of fighting. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, you moved the line, we moved the line, you lived here, we lived there, you oppressed us, you fought us, we fought you. No one goes through all that shit and then pushes the button. You know when they're pushing the button? It's the shit going on today.
Yeah.
That today's like, oh, goddamn, you fucking guys, you did the Hamas, you did Gaza Strip, boom, fire. Yeah. They're dealing, okay, so if you're going to fire weapons, if Israel's going to shoot weapons based on today.
You shoot at anybody, you're going to get shot back at.
That's right. And then Iran's going to press a button based on today. Then I have an opinion based on today. I'm not going to take my 2,000 years of studies to come to a conclusion on who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
You guys are fighting right now. You're shooting missiles based on what's going on today. Right. By the way, today I think Israel's right and you're wrong. Fuck off. That's how I feel today.
Right.
I'm not going deep onto who did what. I don't care who drew the lines after World War II and set up the state of Israel. I got all that.
Well, they're two different discussions. One is a discussion about how it all got here and what should be done about that.
Right.
The other is about in the street.
What's going on
if I'm
now,
walking in the subway in New York and somebody pops me in my jaw, trust me, it's going to be a real issue.
Yeah, you can't. You know, someone
you got to fight back.
Someone doesn't walk up and punch you and go, now, before you hit me back, let's talk about 2,000 years of oppression.
Exactly.
And what your great-grandfathers did. No, that doesn't happen.
No,
you're talking about a street fight and pushing the button.
It's an immediacy of what's going on.
I'm done talking. You know, and I just can't get worked up. But today, I let loose on how I felt about right now. And there was another argument. Someone got in with me and says, well, the caller guy commented in and was blowing up the stream. And he says, well, and this is a few weeks back, but I brought it up today. And he says, well, what's your stance on border patrol and security? I said, well, you want to come in the country, I'm all for it. Just come through the legal checkpoints where we have it. You know, if you don't, you're hiding shit. He goes, well, maybe they can't figure. Oh no, they figure out exactly where to go. Don't tell me they don't know. They know. They're hiding shit. Something wrong. Come through the legal way or don't come in at all. And they said, well, what about when they break in and the parents break the law and they throw them out and they take the kids and go, you can't stay. You're punished too. You're in a cage too because what your parents did. And then when your parents get deported, you got to go too. How is that fair? And I said, I don't understand your question. I mean, first you say, don't separate families. Now you're saying separate them, send them back, keep them here. And they said, well, I want you to know the biggest issue coming up on the rise right now with the border security is that you people, you conservatives, you are punishing children for the sins of their father. You are punishing children for what their parents did. And there is no way you can convince me that's correct behavior. The kids did nothing wrong. They had no part in it. They had no say in it. They weren't involved in it, but yet you're going to punish them. And I said, all right. I said, I'm going to go along with you right now. I'm going to take off my conservative jacket. I'm going to stand right over here with you. I'll even put on a blue cap like the liberals do, the Democrats. I will stand with you on that.
Right.
I'm going to embrace that argument. And of course, the room got quiet. I said, well, I have an ulterior motive. Since this is the logic, you persist is good. I'd like to walk that same argument over to slavery reparations. Let's not make the kids responsible for what the parents did. The parents fucked up. Why are you blaming the kids? Well, you just can't. No, now pick one. Which side are you on?
Right.
You either have to reason things out as they stand in front of you. You cannot blanket policy everything. And if you're going to, then I'm going to walk you down that road. And of course, there's so many facets to slavery and reparations and so many.
Right, because the difference in that discussion for me is, number one, reparations is really not about kids and their parents there's an economic aspect of it that really doesn't even involve America. It involves Europe. Well, there's a European economic aspect of reparations that involves the underwriting of the operations that made money, and the insurance that was a part of it is money that is still unaccounted for. Well, now, reparations, the worst thing in the world that could ever happen is to turn around and hand a bunch of people a bunch of money, and they don't know what to do with that money, and it just becomes a real issue.
And someone came up to me one time and said, do you believe that black people in America in some way have been socially and economically derailed, impacted, they're further behind because of slavery? And I said, well, yeah, I could probably make an argument about that. You could say, well, yeah, if they'd have just been brought over here and said, go do your thing, those families would have prospered and generations later been further down the road. Right. Education, family money, all sorts of things. I said, I'll give you this. So, well, then we're just going to help get them back up to that economic status. And I said, all right. How?
Right. That's the trick. That's a tough one.
How are you going to pick and
labor?
Yeah.
How do you quantify labor that
someone will say to
builds a nation?
Sure. And
it's tough.
They say, well, it was a family was the slaves, and then they got freed, but then they died, and we're going to figure out this much money because. And I said, okay, and who pays for that? They said, well, you're just going to go to everybody. I said, now hold on. My great-great-grandfather died fighting to free the slaves.
Right.
Can I get in on this money? Because my family died.
Right.
I got a loss here.
Yeah.
I feel something there. Can I get in on this? And like, well, you're missing the point. I said, no. Now you're missing the point. If there is real damages done here, there's going to be a bunch of people that say, well, our family died also helping you get there.
No doubt.
We lost people too.
Absolutely.
Can we be in on this? And well, where does that end? How on earth would you track down?
It gets real complicated.
All of that stuff. And I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but I'm saying there's two things. I'm saying that would be extremely difficult to try, like you said, to quantify the labor aspect.
Tough.
and quantify the distribution of how much money, who got what.
Right.
And then here's the thing I throw in there that makes everybody mad. I said it doesn't matter if you pay everybody what they're asking right now, and everybody somehow, I'm okay with this. Everybody's happy. And you sign a contract, you pass a law, you make a bill and do a law, and everybody signs it, everybody agrees. There will be some dude 4 or 5 years from now going, well, I know we said we weren't going to ask for any more.
Yeah, there's always somebody.
But, I don't think you guys really understood, and we certainly didn't understand, we needed double. There's going to be somebody, no matter what you do, that if this works once, they will come after it again. And again, it's just like raising taxes.
Yeah.
The government assholes, they say, well, we're just going to raise this taxes this one time, and then it never stops.
Right.
So tell me how you quantify it. That's a great word.
Yeah, it's a tough
how do you quantify that? And then how do you put a cap on it and say, okay, we're good now, right? Everybody's good?
Right.
And then remember who pays, because obviously if I should not have to pay a dime if I had a relative that fought and died. I shouldn't be included.
But that's why I mentioned insurance companies, Lloyd's of London's and otherwise, because there's lots of monies that were made on losses that somehow or another, and I stress somehow or another because I'm not saying that I understand how.
Yeah.
How it can be traced to try and find out where that wealth went. And not to go to individuals, but to create institutions that can help those who want to do better and want to work, find the skill sets and the things they need and tools to go ahead and work.
I'll do you one better. I want to do that. It has nothing to do with slavery.
Right.
I don't give a shit
in
about
general.
slavery one way or another. Whatever you're saying in that aspect about putting things in place to help people that want to work and learn.
Yeah.
I want to do that right now.
Sure.
Let those people scream and argue about slavery over there all day long. and I will stand right with you and go down that road.
And help those who want to do something.
Right now.
That is important.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that really needs to get done, and there's a lot of people who aren't doing anything. And there are those who want to do something, and they, I guess, by happenstance, by circumstance, or whatever, have not figured it out yet. Well, if there are ways and means that they can go somewhere where they can feel free to express that loss, express that sense of hopelessness, and there are answers and those who can help them get on track, I'm all for that. How it's paid for, it all has to be worked out.
Yeah.
Want to call it reparations or whatever you want to call it.
One of the first things you said was about don't give a bunch of people a bunch of money.
That would
Fine.
be
In
a
that
big
situation, if they
mistake.
want to go to a safe place where they can be understood, they can express themselves, and there's someone there to show them a path, the path is going to be a staircase going up because you're going to have to work like everybody else.
No matter what, you
matter
still have to
what,
work.
you gotta do it.
Everybody's got
You're
to
not
put
just
the
gonna-
skin in the game.
You're
You
not
got to
going
put
to have
it
all
in.
this and someone hands you a pot of gold and say, do you feel better now? No. Real answers are we're with you, we'll listen, we'll help you, we'll guide you, we'll talk it out, and then I'm going to show you it's a staircase.
Yeah,
You
there's
gotta start
nothing
walking.
better than being equipped, qualified to do what you do and enjoy doing and be given the opportunity to do it, and you do it and complete it, and afterwards you look back and feel really good about yourself.
I agree with that.
That is hot,
100%.
and that's what people need to do.
All right, lightning round. Moon
Okay.
landing, true or false? Did it happen?
Happen.
Is the Earth flat or round?
Completely not flat or round. Oblong.
Yes, that is true. But it's basically round.
It's, yeah, basically.
All right, who killed Kennedy?
Somebody who didn't like him a lot.
Well, we figured that much out. They weren't friends on Sunday. Did Lee Harvey Oswald do it? You just
I
kinda-
don't think that he was alone.
So you think there was someone on the grassy knoll?
Oh, I think it was a big operation, big production, big movie, big production.
Big
big,
production.
big.
All right.
Bigger than many of us, many probably even have the ability to think about.
All right. And if you could have one dream fulfilled right now in your career of acting and movies and things, what movie or TV show would you like to do and with who? If you had one dream where someone said, hey, we're going to give you this, what do you want to do? You want to do a movie? You want to do a TV show? And who do you want to be? What would it be about? You want to flight airplanes? You want to go back to slavery days and do a Django Unchained thing? Would you want to do a TV series with some people you know? What would be your dream?
Dream.
You could write your check and just go, yep, I want to do this. One project. There, that's the way to put it. One project.
So it's not my dreams of what I would do, but in film or in
film or
entertainment.
TV, yeah, entertainment in your business, in your profession. If you said, you know what, I'd like to do this project about this with these people, either on TV or movies, what would you lean towards?
I like to give flowers to those who've come before me. So I probably would want to take a lot of the older stars that we all could sit up and name, of not just of one ethnicity, but a number of the older ones, and put them together in a Italian job kind of a a thing where they run they have a little scheme and they get it done and they get double crossed. And then they have to sit down and they have to collab with some younger cats to try and figure out their revenge to get their stuff back.
Now you realize, and I love you, you know that, but you realize if you're casting this, you're one of the old guys, just so you know.
Yeah,
you
I
ain't
realize
got to be one of the young guys no more. Ain't no Thundercat running around here.
And that's the beauty, because they're the stars.
That's right.
That was by design.
That was by design.
I know my age.
Oh my God! I told the girls we'd be in here an hour. It's been 2.
Has it really?
It's been over 2. We just been.
I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Yeah, we in trouble now.
Yeah, Blingy gonna get me.
She gonna get you bad. I'm gonna blame you. He wouldn't shut up. He just kept talking.
Nice.
I kept doing this.
Yeah.
He wouldn't listen.
He just
I
wouldn't
don't know.
stop.
You
That
know the
guy.
man, come on.
Yeah, man.
And my wife would be sitting there going, he is so full of shit.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I hate to say this, but we got to do it again because
Okay.
there's an aspect to talking to you that I want to be just all of the stories that are the juice, man, from back in the day, the people you met, the parties you went to, there's a lot of that. We touched a little bit on that. This was more of a documentary, and I love it. I loved every part of this, but We got to sit down again.
Okay.
We got to do just an hour of just the fun stories about the things, the comedy stuff, the gags you guys pulled, all the way through from beginning to end.
I hope they release the bloopers from what's happening.
Do they have those?
I'm sure they do. It was recorded.
Yeah.
So I know they have them someplace.
I just got to go down to Columbia, knock on the door, and go, "Hey, I'm here for the gag reels."
Man, they've got some good stuff.
I'm gonna fake my way in and go, "Look, I don't care if you got the order. Just show me where they are. I'll pick them up. I'll get the reels. We'll get them back to you when we're done. Come on, man. Just open the door."
Funny stuff.
Well, Heywood, thank you for stopping by.
Mark,
thank
man.
you for being so gracious with your time. You drove out of your way to get here. I know you got a big event going on downtown in Burbank.
Yeah.
You're late for it now. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll have to feed my wife and take my time and drive sensibly so that she can relax.
Got to get down there.
Yeah.
But I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this. It means the world to me. It really does.
Well, thank you for having me and allowing me to be a part of the Gen X family.
You are a cog in the wheel now, my friend. 'Cause
Love
the
it.
more stuff we can do together. And we talked about some stuff in the future.
Yeah.
And if it
so
comes
much.
to fruition, I hope so, man. I think it'll be great and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got it. That was the interview. That's my friend. Yeah, he's my friend. I pay $10 a month to his fan club, and I can legally say that he's my friend. It's a binding contract. He can't get out of it now. I pay prepaid for a year. He's got to be my friend for at least 11 more months, and that's just the way it's going to be. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for, I don't know where you're at in the world, where you're listening from, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you're tuning in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember, if you had 2 hours of your time to waste, thank you for wasting it with Gen X Talks. There's not a better way to waste 2 hours. And it goes by like that. Don't lie. You looked up too and said, oh shit, I'm late for doing something because you got so invested in what was going on. Well, that's what we do around here. We waste your time and we make it feel like you don't even know what's going on. Thank you guys again. Remember 2 things. Wherever you go, there you are. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Haywood, thanks again, my man.
All right, man.
Life is